All right, we're just waiting a few minutes for people to arrive. Make sure everyone can hear me. I'm going to cast this into the Discord as well. Make sure I've got my coffee, very important. All right. So welcome to the live stream. This is our progress in Alga PSA over the last 30 days. The month of January, if you're not aware, Alga PSA is an open source MSP PSA that we are working pretty hard to get released out to you. I would say it's not quite ready for production use, but we're getting very close. So I just wanted to go through this long list of improvements that we have from last week. I don't have my sidekick with me this week, so I'm kind of having to juggle things myself, but we'll get through it. All right, let me get started. So invoice system enhancements. So we have invoice rendering improvements this month. Let me kind of show you what those are. If you click on the invoices now, you can actually see a preview. It's not perfect yet, but it's getting much closer. This was not working at all prior to this month's progress. And along with that, we have the invoice templates. These have been enhanced quite a bit. You can see the preview down below here. And now we have the template DSL. This is how you define the look and feel of a template. We'll make this pretty simple. This is just the view if you really want to get in there and customize your invoices. But we'll give plenty of sample invoices for most use cases. We've got a couple kind of fake invoices that you can go through here and look at the look and feel of your design. I think what we added this month is the ability to clone them, and definitely we had the ability to set them as default, which goes along with our invoice emailing and downloading, which I'm going to go over shortly. Next thing is we now have finalized invoices. These are invoices that you have either downloaded as a PDF or you've emailed them to your customer as a PDF. We mark them as finalized so that you don't make changes to them after the fact unknowingly after sending them to your customers. You can also reverse the finalization. And then from here, you can continue to download the PDFs. Downloading or sending them to your customers automatically marks them as finalized. Let's see. And yeah, generating PDFs by itself is new for this release. So you can individually download PDFs, download to your workstation, or you can download them in bulk. So if you have, your monthly invoicing, you can select them all. You can download them in bulk. What happens is we zip them up into a zip file, and we drop them into the document system, and then you can go to the document system and you can download them. Also, when you're generating invoices, those invoices as PDFs appear in the document for that client as well. So the clients, when they log into their portal, which we'll show in a future video, they'll be able to see their invoices and download the PDFs from there, already generated and finalized. Exporting PDFs, that's kind of the same thing as what I just talked about, bulk zip download. Price calculation improvements, there's a lot of those. Just improvements in invoicing across the board. But I don't want to jump ahead of myself. A lot of this is invoicing this month. It's kind of it's a month for people who like money. So that's good. When you click on invoices now, you can add manual items. Couldn't do that before. it was just the automatic billing that would appear on these invoices, and then you had manual invoices. Now you can add line items to your automatic invoices. And also discounts. You can add discounts to invoices. You can add a fixed amount discount or a percentage amount discount, and you can apply the discount to either the entire invoice or just a particular line item. So that's new. Yeah, so along with the invoice downloading, many MSPs have hundreds or thousands of customers, and the invoicing process is rather, there's a lot of invoices to generate every month. We created this background job monitoring place where you can go and you can look at the progress of many different things that you can do in the background. So one of which is generating invoices. So when you go and generate invoices, it'll appear here as a pending task. You can click into it and you can look at the progress of the invoice generation as it occurs. So if you have 1,000 invoices, you don't have to sit there at your computer waiting for it to get done. You can click it, you can walk away, come back later, and you can look at the progress. And then, like I said before, you can go to the main client and you can view and download that zip file of all those invoices. There's so much that we did this month that I keep kind of giving away future features. We'll talk about the default client in a second. In addition to that, one of the jobs that you can start up is emailing invoices. So let me show you how that is going to work. Go to the invoice list. You can select all, and there's an action here. Right now, it's just download and finalize. Actually, last night we committed emailing as well. So there's an additional line that says send invoices. You click that, and it will generate a bunch of emails that have PDF attachments to them and send them to your customers. Sends them with the default billing contact. Yet another feature I'm kind of giving away ahead of time. And then once you email those invoices, they'll appear in the job system. You can watch the progress of the emails as they occur. If there are any failures, they'll be marked out there, and you can take care of any failures to generate or send emails by going to the job monitoring system. While I'm here, let me go to the clients and show you how the default billing contact works now. You can select who you want to be, the default billing contact. That's where the emails will go to. If you don't have a contact that you want to use, you can use an alternate email instead. So you can kind of switch between those. Also, when generating invoices, each different company may have a different template that you want to use. You can select or override the template here. And that's why we have the default template, so that you don't have to go through all your customers and mark them all individually. If you don't override it, then the default template is the one that is sent. So hopefully that's pretty clear. Yeah, so right along with the the billing kind of thing, we have product and license management. And the way that works is that services can now be products. So when you add a service, there's a service service type, and it's either a product, can be a physical product that you sell, or it can be a software license, and these can be tracked as with usage tracking, which I'll talk about in a second. So when you create these, say you create a software license, it might be Microsoft 365 licensing, and it's tracked by user. And so now we need a way to track monthly the number of users that are using the that software license. You can imagine it's the same thing with selling backups. You want to keep track of maybe the storage consumption for the customer, There's a lot of different ways that this can be used, but um, usage tracking is similar to time entry. So with time entry, you're billing your time, and you're going in and you're adding your time, and then that is billed to the customers. In usage tracking, you are recording for that billing period the amount of the product that that particular client used for that particular service. So you can make these entries, and these entries are then used in automatic invoicing and appear on the invoices. And then also as part of the service, as part of the billing plan, you can add services to the billing plan, which will make it so that those are automatically invoiced to the customer every single billing cycle. And then you can set up different types of plans where maybe they get a bucket for a certain price, and after they extend across that number of things that you're billing, maybe the price goes up, or maybe they get X number for free. All those different types of billing arrangements are possible with this system. Create a plan, add services to the plan, and then use usage tracking to determine how much your customers have used for that particular billing cycle. So this should be kind of standard um, standard stuff if you're used to how PSAs work. You can imagine where we're going with this in the future. The usage tracking will be something that can be automatically um, uh, these usage records can be created with APIs, and maybe there's a synchronization process or a pulling process that pulls those in from third parties. So that is product and license management, and how it's integrated into the billing system. Then we have timesheet management. Okay, so lots and lots for timesheets too. So I'm not sure I can show everything here. Oh yeah, okay. So one of the things that we have is ad hoc time entries. These are time entries for which you don't yet have a work item for them. So you don't have a ticket, or you don't have a project task yet. It's kind of frustrating to get here and then not be able to create your time entry. Now you can, and it'll generate the other corresponding records. I think even ad hoc time entries themselves can be added without any work item whatsoever. Of course, those cannot be billable. Ad hoc time entries can be created from a timesheet or a calendar. So if you go to the calendar and you create an entry in your calendar, it's often nice to turn those entries into time records. So you can do that now. We can filter now in the, let's see, this is all kind of test data, kind of whimsical test data, but you can filter now the work items in the time list. This is super important. Other systems have trees and things like that. And then in here, prior to this, these were like very small entries in the work item list for time entries. Now we give you all this context so you can see exactly what you're selecting. Makes it a lot easier when you're adding your time. When there's a lot of similarly titled work items in your system. And now we can include inactive work types, active work types, and there's just a lot of filters. There's a lot of stuff you can do here to filter down the work items for time entry. And we got similar stuff on calendar and dispatch. Let me just go over there real fast. So yeah, so this is a completely overhauled entry screen for the time entry screen. A lot of this wasn't here before. You can assign members. You can add additional assign tos. You can come into here and you can select the work item for the schedule entry that you're using here, and then you can override the start and end time from this dialog here if you didn't get your selection working correctly. And I think that we already had recurrences, but those are still working pretty well too. Make sure my notes window stays open. Okay. And there may be more on the scheduling system later, but now billing system. It's kind of a billing month, like I mentioned before. We have conflict detection now for overlapping billing cycles. So you can't create billing cycles accidentally that overlap each other. You can also create billing cycles early. So you may want to invoice for a client, but it's kind of silly to wait for the billing cycle to be completely finished before the next cycle is created. I think by default, we create billing cycles about 7 days in advance of when they begin, but here you can override that and you can create the cycle early. You can also generate the invoice early. So you can create an early invoice by choosing a billing cycle that was created early. So this is just a little indicator that lets you know that the invoicing that you're doing is for an invoice where the billing cycle hasn't completed yet, but you can if you want to. Okay, so the billing plans also were kind of in a state of disrepair before. Now you can actually save them. You can add plans. That stuff is working. So that's good. Billable time enforcement to calculate billing duration. So when you put an item in, a billable item, it's actually billed correctly. A lot of this is just correctness. We hadn't put the time into the new invoicing system yet, but it's really getting close to being production ready. Like I mentioned, early invoice generation. There's something else I wanted to show too. Let me see. Oh yeah, previews. So we didn't have invoice previews before. You had to kind of create the invoice in order to see what you were invoicing, but now you can actually preview the invoice. And as time goes on, you can see if it matches your expectations, and if it doesn't, you can go back and look at the time entries or the usage records or whatever it is that's causing your time entry, your preview invoice to look like it's not quite what you expect. You click on them, this should say generate, you can generate them, and then they appear down here. You can reverse, see, these are billing cycles, so these are not invoices, these are cycles, which, usually there's one invoice per cycle, but there could be multiple. And then down here, you can reverse the cycle that you just invoiced, and then you get a nice warning. It says reversing an invoice will remove the invoices for that site, or reversing a time billing cycle will remove the invoices that were generated for that cycle, reissue credits, unmarked time entries, and then mark the billing cycle as inactive. It says the action cannot be undone, but you could just regenerate the invoice, and then the cycle would be marked as invoiced again. So it's a little bit more scary or less scary than it looks. Timesheet approval. So we have a whole approval process. You can view and manage approved timesheets, and you can reverse them. So now finally you can go to an approved, let's see. Yeah, you can go to an approved timesheet here, and you can reverse the approval, which you could not do before. And I think all this is mostly the same as what we had already, but there are a few kind of quality of life and workflow improvements with timesheets. Let's see. Configuration updates. Yeah, there's some notes here on configuration updates, but I think for the most part, these are as we showed last time. We still have this this asset system for configuration records. The next big update to this will come when we add APIs, and it will allow you to keep these things in synchronization with the APIs. Project management. So like I said before, we have some data in here, some whimsical data. Hopefully I can use it to show you what has been done. We added a project manager and contact. Okay, so you can click edit on the project now, and you can look at all the details on the project. These had no user interface before, so this is all brand new. And this just kind of allows you to get the overall project information, which of course that's required. And that includes, like I said, the project manager and a client. Now you can associate the project with clients, and you can have a contact. This is the client contact for this particular project, and you can mark up a project manager. Also, give a start and end date on the project, so that you can kind of put in expectations for deadlines and scheduling. And so if you click on these things now, this has been expanded. We now allow you to add additional agents to a project task. In addition to the assigned to, the distinction there is that usually the assigned to is the person who's responsible for that task, and then each of the additional agents are people that they're working with. There is a way to show the project. Oh yeah, show project editable in a drawer, which I showed you. Added start and end dates for the project phases and tasks. So yep, you can see those here. You can click, you can add a start and end date for each individual task, which is important for scheduling. And milestones, for example, in software development. Reorder project tasks. Oh yeah, this is cool. You can reorder these things now up and down the list. So that allows you to kind of organize things the way that you want to, drag and drop them inside of the Kanban swim lane. All right, moving right along, tickets. We added more filters. So you can filter tickets now more extensively. I think some of these filters have been expanded quite a bit. So they're a lot more, better category filtering. Yeah, here we go. So you can kind of click through these categories in subcategories, and you can filter with this nice kind of tree user interface. You can select multiple things, and you can get sophisticated filtering based on multiple categories. And there's an exclude, so you can exclude particular categories by clicking the X button. So that's pretty cool. And yeah, we have an AI-driven browser automation and LLM integration. It's really, really interesting. I've kind of put out some videos on it on YouTube. I think they're on LinkedIn, and you can kind of see how it works. I'm not set up right now to show it, but basically imagine that it's like what OpenAI just recently announced for computer control, where you can kind of chat with the chatbot and it will go out and it'll open a browser, in our case, in a Docker instance, completely isolated, and it'll actually just work with our application. Rather than using screenshots, it actually understands how Alga PSA works, and it really will help us to be more efficient with our testing and get more work done faster. And all of this is open source. It's all available on GitHub. But you can just say, hey, go and test the invoicing. Well, that'd be kind of complex, but you can say, go and test the ticketing system. Go to the ticket screen, 100% kind of by itself. Look at the ticket, create a ticket, delete a ticket. It does all those things, and it will indicate whether or not there's problems with that. Cool thing is that we have a whole bunch of test plans that we use that are manual test plans. We actually copy and paste those into the LLM, and then it will go through and actually drive the screens and test those for us. So the more we can do to be efficient, the more we can get done every single month, which is that's the goal. Okay. Yeah. Also, here in the past, you had to go to clients and you had to go open a client, go to the billing. Go to the tax settings, and you had to create tax settings for that particular client. That's not workable if you import hundreds or whatever, a lot of clients, you don't want to go and just be doing busy work clicking tax settings. So those automatically default now. Time zone support for clients. Let's see if I can find it. Additional? Yes. So now you can click the time zones, create the time zones for each additional client. It's important, especially for some of our European customers who have customers all across that continent. Yeah, it's important everywhere. Okay. Event systems and notification. This is really cool, but it's not something that can be demoed. So there's a system now where, I guess I can demo it. So let me go to the settings. I go to general, and I can show you these interaction types. So for a particular interaction, we can send now invoices and notifications. So you might want to get notified when a ticket's created or deleted, and other things like that. You can come into here now and you can create a standard template that is used to create an email for email notifications, and then that can be customized. And you have many different types of events for each of the different types of things that can happen in the system that you might want to be notified about. So right here, this is where you can go and customize what those emails look like. So these are the templates for the notifications. And then, let me see. And you can go in, I'm trying to remember where it is. You can go in, and for each of the individual users, I'll show you on just my account here. For myself, for instance, I can go to the profile screen. Profile screen is also new, so there's just a ton of things that we've done this month. Go to the profile screen, and you can turn off notifications or turn on notifications for yourself, and then there is the default notifications, whether they're on or off completely, and then overrides for the different types and subtypes of notifications. So yeah, so you can turn them off for the entire system, or you can turn them off for individual users. And there's a few things that I'm kind of remembering that are not on the list, but since I remember them, I'll show you. So the general settings screen used to allow you to set your organization name. Now we allow you to associate your organization with a client, and you mark that as the default. So that company record, that client record, is you. And then you don't have to refill in a lot of information here, and because it's treated as a company, kind of simplifies things. Also, many companies, especially the ones in that deal internationally, have many different entities. All of those entities can be listed here as multiple entities for that particular company. And then there's the default. The default is important because the default is where the invoice bundles go when you create them. So if you go and you do invoicing and you do a download zip, that zip will appear in your document system for the default company for that organization. Hopefully that is clear, and hopefully that makes sense. So that is an earful, and that is our list of all the improvements that we have for this month. So it's been a very busy month. Next month is really important for us. I believe that next month is the final full month before we actually go live and start up our hosted platform. I don't know if it's ever clear when I do these live streams, because it's kind of, it would surprise me, but everything that you saw today is part of our open source product. So you can download this today and you can use it today. Again, unless you like working on the bleeding edge, there's a few sharp edges here, and it's not quite ready for just just everyone to just install it and off you go. But it's getting pretty close. All of this is free. All this is available on our GitHub. If you think it's cool what we've done here, go there and give it a star. Talk about it in the forums. Make sure people know about it. We're trying to make a difference here, and yeah. So we'll have a hosted model for people who don't want to have to run all this themselves, and we're going to make that very affordable. So that is the list here. Let me see if there are any questions from the audience that I can answer. I think we are good. So thanks. We'll do this again next month on the last Friday of the month, and it was fun. Talk to you guys next month. Bye.